The long wait is over, and tomorrow night, New York Jets football is back. So let's get fired up.
Rickie, New York is about to go live. We've been through hell, but we still survive. So call it now. I want all the smoke. I'm here to give fans a reason to hope. They continue to build, and soon enough, the Jets will be winning. Now let's get fired up.
All right. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. While you're here, hit that like button just as hard as you can. And if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. And you know what? I might not be smoking anymore, but this channel is. Last night, we hit 420. And as of today, it was 425. And this channel just keeps growing. I would like to say thank you to Pete and JT and Jay and QAA and everybody that's come over from the X community to here and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all you guys. Whether you're watching on X, watching on YouTube, come over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, tomorrow night, we play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for our first preseason game of the year. The longest off season in history is finally over with, and we get to watch some Jets football again. To help me break it all down, special guest, Omari Brown. Dude, really good to have you on the show, man. I've been looking forward to this.
Thanks. Yeah, likewise, man. I've watched the show. Fan of what you're doing and everybody else in the comments. And you're right about the longest offseason that I can remember, man. We finally get to watch some real football. Well, fake real football.
Yeah.
But we're actually going to get to root for our teams. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. Looking forward to it. Like I said, I think I first saw you on like Jake's show, and I was listening. I was like, you know what? Everything seemed so well worded and well thought out, and you were optimistic, but you like didn't go overboard with it. Like, it wasn't crazy. Like, we're going to make a playoff push or something. And so I really liked the takes and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, first off, and again, I feel like you have to be. I'm a fan first. I always tell people that, especially with the Jets. So I try to provide some semblance of objectivity, but also not completely jump out the window with my fandom. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Right, and you know what? It was the Jake show because I remember I sent in the comment about Adonai Mitchell. 62 catches, 843 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And I know those numbers because I've been saying them for like 2 months. And 2 months ago, people were laughing at me. And now all of a sudden, people seem like they're listening to me.
Well, I mean, as they should be. Gino, I actually heard that AD, was staying over at Gino's house just so they could train together. So I think he understands, and I've talked about this. And again, people, I was on Jake's show yesterday. I was on Boy Green earlier. I think everybody understands where they are in their football lives. AG understands where he is in his football life in terms of proving that he's, an efficient head coach. AD Mitchell, he's going into year 3, and he's going to have to shed that. He's coming to a point, a crossroads where he was a high pick. Now, this is probably his last shot to prove that he's going to be a number 2 receiver. So everyone understands. Geno Smith understands that he's at the end of his football life. So everybody understands that the stakes are high, and he's operating like it. Now he still has to go out there and prove it, but again, if he hits those numbers, we all want AD Mitchell to hit those numbers. So yeah, hopefully, from your lips to the football guy's ears.
Yeah, and I don't remember what I had for catches for Garrett, but I know I had him at like 1351 and 11 touchdowns. So if you just put those two guys together, I actually had predicted Gino to break Broadway Joe's record by 7 yards and have 414. But yeah, like, I think that this offense has the potential to be good, just because not great, not, we're not going to be blowing people out, but we're going to be competitive. We're going to be able to stay in games. And it's just because we have an efficient quarterback, not a world beater, but just somebody who gets the ball out on time and can find the open guy. Like, that's been the biggest difference to me. Like, watching last year opposed to this year is the quarterback play is night and day.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a complete 180, right? Justin Fields. I mean, was there ever a practice where the ball didn't hit the ground? And the Jets have already had that with Geno Smith, the first public practice for fans. So that's good. Now again, I'm not going to go too far in one direction and say like, oh yeah, Geno Smith is going to lead us to the promised land. I'll leave that up to Aaron Glenn to say that. But again, you're
Right.
going to be able to fully. I think the best thing about this season is that hopefully we're going to be able to determine exactly what the Jets have. So hopefully that's like what you said, a 1,300-yard receiver, a good number 2 receiver, and then hopefully what you want is Omar Cooper to challenge for that wide receiver 2 spot. A
Right.
lot of people are up in arms. I don't know if you want to get over that. I believe it was one of the sleeper accounts or the Yahoo pages that said that Isaiah Williams is ahead of Omar Cooper or at the wide receiver 3 of the slot position right now. So what is your take about that? Are you alarmed?
You know what? I'm so gung ho on Adonai Mitchell that I think he's actually locked in at wide receiver 2. I think he's going to play a majority of the snaps. I think in 12 personnel, he's still going to be out there as a number 2. Like I don't think he's coming off the field a whole lot. Now with Omar Cooper, dude, like initially, and I know he had one practice that was a little bit rough, and now all of a sudden people are freaking out. Like there's nothing to freak out about. But right off the bat, like I saw in one of the very first practices, they had him lined up in the backfield, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're using these guys in different creative ways. I like seeing that. I like seeing that they were trying to get him involved early. That being said, Isaiah Williams, I think, is like, hey, I contributed last year when I was called on, and they're going to give me a little bit of a shot this year. And since rookies do take a little bit of time to come along, I see an opportunity and I'm going to take it. And you know what? I think we're going to have a really good battle between Cooper and Isaiah Williams for that 3 spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'm not putting too much stock into it at all. I mean, it was funny enough. Somebody, people were saying that, Odabisi Johnson was ahead of Justin Jefferson in his first training camp. So I think that is very early. I think that it's good that none of these rookies are being given spots. I think that meritocracy should, especially for a team that won 3 games last year, I feel like you should only get what you earn. And if Omar Cooper is unable to earn a spot on this team, that means that those guys are performing well. That's what we hope. So we hope that it's not because that Omar Cooper isn't good enough to, be a number 3 receiver. So yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that. I don't think that it's worried. It's not worrying me yet.
No, not at all. And competition is a good thing. So I don't mind that at all. And likewise, kind of going off that same train of thought, guys like, Joseph Osai, he just got activated, and Enigbari, I guess, got banged up a little bit as well. But those 2 guys in particular are free agents that we brought in that when you hear them, they like want to be here. And I think similar to what I said about Isaiah Williams, I think both of those guys are thinking, hey, rookies take a while to come along sometimes. This can be an opportunity for us to get on the field. And yeah, so I like that. I like that so many of our guys really have something to prove, whether it's Gino, DeMario coming back for round 3, Minkah Fitzpatrick, which he's so soft-spoken. It's hard to, say that he's got a chip on his shoulder, but like, there's so many people say, oh, he's 29, he's washed. And I don't think that's the case at all. But Adonai Mitchell, like there's so many guys on this roster that has something to prove. So I like that. I think it's going to drive the competition, and I just think it's going to make everybody better.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because for some reason, maybe in football years he's old. Some people forget. Some people speak about Minka as if he's 34 years old, and sometimes the way people speak about him, I had to go back and look. Minka's 29 years old, so I think that he could have. I mean, they signed him to a 3-year extension. I believe Minka, if used properly and put in advantageous situations, he could probably have 2 or 3 more productive, good seasons before we start to see a decline. I mean, he's already, I think if you utilize him, he's not going to be, the deep third free
Right.
safety ball hawking guy. I'm not expecting that, but I am expecting somebody to know where the play is going to be, diagnose, get guys in position. So if he's playing closer to the ball, if you're putting him in nickel, if he's in sub package linebacker, I'm expecting Minka to make some plays. I'm expecting him to line up, on any given play, he's going to be in a different spot. So I am expecting some good football from Minka. The Jets committed to him. He's back home. He wanted to leave Miami. I don't know if you caught his appearance on the Pivot podcast. He talked about it. He likes being moved around, and he said that he didn't speak up enough towards the end of his tenure in Pittsburgh. So yeah, just like you said, I think that everybody is a good amount of this roster that's new, and they have something to prove. And it's funny that you say that, Joseph Osai and Kingsley Enagbari, those are younger guys as well, too. Those are I call them younger veterans. I put, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Joseph Osai, and Kingsley Enagbari, those guys in their mid-20s, but they've been in the league for 4 to 5 years. And you're trying to establish yourself, especially Enagbari. He's on a 1-year deal. Joseph Osai, it's a 3-year deal, but technically I believe that it's a 2-year deal. But he's trying to establish himself as a guy going forward. So, yeah, I think that it's a good mix of guys, and it's just enough, underdog mentality and for them to make some noise, or at least be a hard out.
Yeah, I completely agree. And with the safety thing in particular, initially I was thinking, you know what, we'll probably see Belton with his tackling in the box, and then Minka kind of in that short to intermediate area, and then Cisco or more probably deep. But now I might actually think that it might be Belton that might be back in the back end now. I don't know. It's going to be curious to see how they use that. I think there's going to be a lot of 3 safety looks. I'm just curious to see how that's going to unfold, where they're going to have those guys lined up.
Yeah, it's interesting because, well, a couple things. Well, I think there's going to be a ton of 3 safety looks. When I was at practice on Saturday, I caught a few of those, a handful of times, there being 3 safety looks. Belton, Connor Long, and I had a discussion about it, and we actually disagreed because I think where the defense is going to be susceptible is the deep third. I just don't think that they have. I don't think they have the horses to cover deep third, especially if you're going against a team that's going to take deep shots like the Packers. I think that's where you're going to see the deficiencies covering deep third. But again, I like Belton close to the action just because of his tackling, and you're stopping some of the intermediate stuff with his ball production. I would prefer Minka to be back there. And to be honest, Rickie, I would prefer it if Malachi Moore was able to overtake Andre Cisco. Andre Cisco is a hometown local kid. But again, every time you look up and the team is scoring in practice, number 8 is trailing behind. So, it's just practice. But again, I think we've seen enough of Andre Cisco, and it's a little disheartening that your 4th round pick that played arguably, I believe he played the most snaps I think he was top 5 in snaps as a rookie last year, and he's not been able to separate himself.
Right. And I mean, he was responsible for some of our only turnovers last year. So yeah. I can't say that, but yeah, I mean, and I hate to rag on a guy that's on our team, but like I said it the other day, the only Cisco that I want to see is Cisco Lopez in the chat. One of the great guys in our community. The other Cisco, I've seen enough of that. Now, something that I was thinking, and in the beginning, I was telling people we need to temper our expectations with these rookies. Everybody thinking that Sadiq's going to go out there and have 600 yards right off the bat in his rookie year. I think you need to pump the brakes a little bit, and Cooper as well. A lot of these guys, but then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? The Jets are actually kind of in an advantageous situation when it comes to that, because they do have Garrett and AD Mitchell and Brees. And, initially I was kind of disappointed with Mason Taylor not doing better in the beginning of our practices with Sadiq out. But lately, it looks like he's starting to heat up, which that's good. I like seeing him starting to turn that corner. But having all those playmakers at our disposal, like we don't have to rush those rookies into action. Like it kind of takes some of the pressure off them where they can kind of take their time to get their legs under them, so to speak. And the coaches can bring them along at a reasonable pace instead of trying to like rush them right out there and throwing them right into the fire. And do you look at that same way?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be incredibly tough if you're depending on rookies, people who and guys who haven't played a snap in the NFL to really carry your team. Now, it would be good, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson came in and hit the ground running, and that you're hearing that your second overall pick. I say that, but then I also say you also took an edge rusher second overall. That guy should be able to come in and provide disruption and be able to get after the passer. And it seems that David Bailey's been able to do that. But in terms of tight end, that's going to take a little bit of time to develop. It's a tough position. He's going to be asked to play multiple positions. And then wide receiver, you've insulated yourself a little bit to where Omar Cooper is your wide receiver 4. And then, D'Angelo Ponds, I think that he would have been able to, push for some starting reps and some time right now. But again, it's good that AZ Thomas is stepping up. Just now that D'Angelo Ponds is missing time, this is it's an opportunity for Jarvis Brownlee to kind of remind people like, hey, I'm still here. I played some good football when I came over in the trade. So again, you don't want to be depending on these guys, but you do want them to emerge and so you could feel comfortable, playing them if you do have to play them. But again, every injury is an opportunity, and we're starting to see Darryl Jackson Jr. actually take advantage of his opportunity right now in practice with T'Vondre Sweat missing time.
Yeah, and everybody that watches this show knows that this is coming because we just talked about Azareye'h Thomas and him stepping up and taking that corner 2 role. We're talking about Darryl Jackson and making the most of his opportunities. And both of those guys are from Florida State. And,
I'm Rickie, New York, and I love to smoke. Florida State, I really love Florida State. Hey, easy, Thomas, you know it's from Florida State. At any rate, I call into smoking debate. Florida State, I really love Florida State. At any rate, thanks for taking my call, Jake.
That never seems to get old. Like initially when Gator first started making intros for people, okay, I was like, don't make an intro for me. Like don't do it. And I was dreading it. I knew that it was coming at some point. And then when it came out, I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad at all. That's actually pretty accurate. So tip of the hat to Gator and to Jake. But nice. Yeah, it's good to see my Florida State guys doing well. So Darryl Jackson, it sounded like was in a bit of a skirmish at that last practice when things got out of hand.
He was right. He was right smack dab in the middle of it. Threw some punches, tossed the helmet. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the players that started fights, except for Quantez Stiggers, well, I won't say started fights or that were involved in scuffles, they were all the new guys and the young guys. So, credit to Connor Rogers because he said this too. He said, a lot of these guys, they're not used to being, they're not used to getting their ass kicked in a Jets uniform. So this is new to them. So, they were bringing it. That's what you want. With those joint practices, it's good. It's like you don't want it to really dissolve and it just become an MMA fight, but you do want there to be some sort of chippiness. If somebody is tackling your guy or going out of the bounds of what you guys agreed to before practice, you have to let them know, like, hey, listen, you can't touch our guys. Don't touch our quarterback. We're doing a light thud. We're keeping everybody up, no tackling to the ground. So, it was a couple times where if you get beat a couple times, somebody takes it the wrong way and sometimes punches get thrown. So it's good. It's good to feel that the gestures aren't, rolling over and taking it because I feel like during the Saleh era, a lot of those times, I just feel like that a lot of those players, I don't think the mentality was is where you want it to be.
I completely agree. And, whether it's, like Enigbari and Osai, they come in and they're like, okay, I like what AG is selling here. I believe in this thing. It looks like they're loading up. They got all this ammo, and I want to get on the ground floor of this thing. And I think this is going to go somewhere. And then obviously the rookies, they're all enthusiastic because they haven't had to deal with that kind of culture. And especially, like Cooper and Pons, they're like, we went to a program that was considered nothing and turned it around into a championship program. We did it before. We're going to do it again. And they've got that optimism. And then you've got like Garrett and Brees who have been here, but like still want to be here and still believe. And the guys that didn't believe anymore, like the Williams brothers and others, are all gone. Like, I think we've purged ourselves. And that's one of the reasons that, like, where some channels probably think LFG means let's fire Glenn, but it's not. it's let's fucking go. And the thing is like the energy just seems different this time. And last year with Glenn, I think he was optimistic when he got here. He really believed that I can take this roster and do something with it. But all he knew about those players is their actual play, what he saw on film. He hadn't known them as people, been in that locker room when things go bad and seen how they react. And dude, I think, a third of the way through the year when the wheels started coming off, all of a sudden, Quinnen's asking for a trade. And dude, that Jacksonville game was probably the worst game by a linebacker in coverage I've ever seen in my life from Quincy. And I think Aaron Glenn was like, holy shit, my team captains, the guys that are supposed to be leaders, all just hung up their cleats on me. Like what the hell is going on? And I think it caught him off guard. I think it humbled him, but I think it gave him a reality check where he went, man, I thought I had all the ingredients I needed here. And it turns out some of these ingredients, they've been on the shelf too long. They've gone bad. I need to toss them out and get some new ones in here. And it became more of a true rebuild at that point. And I don't think he came into it looking to tear it down to the studs. And that's actually what needed to be done. So I kind of take that first year and just kind of toss it out. And I'm not saying that he's blameless at all. But at the same time, there were things, and everybody goes, oh, but, the end of the year, we gave up this historic amount of points, and it was so bad, like, record-breaking bad. And it's like, yeah, but we were missing, AZ at that point. We're missing Brownlee at that point. You're missing, 2 out of your 3 starting corners. At the end of the year, Brees was banged up. McDonald was banged up. The amount of people that had injured, it's like, well, of course we're giving up that many points. Take any NFL team and strip away a third of their starters on defense, and they're going to give up a bunch of points. I mean, granted, it was worse with us, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like there were certain things that injuries, the guys quitting that were kind of out of his control. And I like the fresh start now. I like where we're at.
Yeah, I'll even take it a step further. I said that all the time. I don't know these men personally, but just from a fan looking in, I just thought that solid core was mentally weak. Anytime they were hit with any type of adversity, they would crumble. There were plenty of times where his vaunted defense could have won them the game, and they lost them the game. Aaron Rodgers, I believe Aaron Rodgers had the ball, 4 times with an opportunity to go win the game, and they lost all 4 times. So for me, I always say that Robert Saleh gave off stepdad energy. He just wanted to be liked. I'm not going to say that his players didn't respect him, but again, just look at the silly penalties and the disciplinary stuff that they always did. I always tell people that Robert Saleh lost me as a fan, to be honest, once he allowed his team to wear Mike White shirts when you were still trying to have Zach Wilson as your franchise quarterback. So that right there, there's certain things that coaches do, and that's where I'm just like, I don't know if this is the guy. this guy might be better suited as a coordinator. So I never went in last year. There's no way you can tell me that with Justin Fields, even though I thought that he would play better football, there's no way you tell me that Justin Fields, along with Alan Lazard, Tyler Johnson, and Josh Reynolds, and you were serious about winning games. And I always say it's like when you buy a house, right? It's going to be a fixer-upper, but then you go once you're living in the house, and then you realize that the foundation needs to be repaired, and that's exactly what it was. He was he saw the individual accolades, he saw the individual play of Quinnen Williams and Quincy, and that's why he tried to bring over Steve Wilks, because Steve Wilks took over 49ers defense, but he didn't understand how deep the issues go here. And I think that there was an infection, and you had to get rid of the infection. How do you do that? When you have a root canal, you have to go to the roots, right? Yep. So you had to get rid of that element that doesn't want to be here. I think back to the Miami game. As soon as Brandon Allen fumbled, every Jets fan that I know, and even you deep down, you knew that they were going to give up, because that's what those solid teams do. They were, that they were given a lot and they didn't really earn anything. Sauce got an All-Pro his first year, was Defensive Rookie of the Year. Garrett won Offensive Player of the Year, but again, they didn't really win anything. They won 7 games twice, and for some reason, everybody they all became stars because of the Aaron Rodgers stuff and the Hard Knocks, but they didn't do anything to earn that stardom as a team.
Nope. Yeah, I completely agree, and like you said, those solid teams, there was one time I was watching the game here, and it was literally 3 seconds left of the game, and it goes to a commercial. And I was like, we got this game won. It was a Patriots game. And so I started leaving here, walking down to the store. And as I'm walking to the store, the Patriots, we're kicking the ball off to them. And I literally said out loud, I was walking, you know what? Just kick it out of bounds. Just put it somewhere where they can't return it. And the next thing I know on my phone, it's blah, 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 82-yard return for a touchdown, something, and we lost. And I was
that
like,
the Marcus Jones return?
Yes. And I'm like,
but the Jets had less than 100
yeah,
yards.
it was
total
like
offense.
3 seconds left to go. Yeah. And we kick it right to him and he returns it for a touchdown. And it's like, you have got to be friggin' kidding me. Like good teams do not let something like that happen. Not with 3 seconds left on the clock.
Was that I believe that was the post game where Zach said that he doesn't think that he owes the team an apology, right?
I believe that. Yeah.
And now when you think back, now when you think back to that, it's like, of course, Zach didn't feel like he owed them an apology. They all wore Mike White t-shirts when he took the job over.
Right. And then I got Sauce, who maybe gave up, 3 catches for 30 something yards or something on the game after a game. Well, I personally didn't do anything, but and it's like, yeah, except for when it was 3rd and long and we maybe had a shot at this thing, you let Booty, the receiver from the Patriots, get behind you, and you might only gave up a couple of catches, but one of them was a killer. One of them was a backbreaker in a crucial moment, dude. Don't stand up there and say, well, me personally, I didn't do anything. That used to irk me. And yeah, man, the solid guys, they were just soft, man. He coddled those guys, and that's what I would always say. Solid, they would screw up and he'd be like, that's all right. We'll get them next time, babe. No, it's not all right. It's not all right. And just like you said, how long they stuck with Zach Wilson, Aaron Glenn, he supported Fields while he was our starter, but at the same time, he admitted his mistakes. He saw that a lot of things weren't working and he scrapped it all. So I do like that about him. At least I know he's not going to let us go down in flames just because he doesn't want to admit he's wrong. He takes the bullets for everybody. He'll always take the blame for the guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's hard to find good things that Aaron Glenn did during his first year, but one thing I always do give him credit for is that he's able to pivot. A lot of people wanted him to fire Steve Wilks. He fired Steve Wilks. People wanted him to start Brady Cook to continue out the tank because they were tanking, and they played Brady Cook. So I think that you have to give credit where it's due. And a lot of people. One thing that truly bothers me, because listen, Aaron Glenn has done a ton of things wrong, and he'll be the first to tell you that. But also, everything good that happens can't only be looked at as a Darren Muji thing, and everything that bad happens can't only be looked at as an Aaron Glenn thing. I think sometimes you have to look at them together because they are a package. So a lot of those things that you like, a lot of those things that you like that Darren Muji's doing, Aaron Glenn is also giving his input to that as well too.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't know why some people are so dead set on trying to separate the two. I think it's just because some people have been so all in on the anti-Glenn thing that they don't want to bring themselves to admit that he had any part of anything constructive that's going on. Speaking of things that are constructive going on, I mentioned it earlier, how Mason Taylor, started off kind of cold, had some drops in our earlier practices, but these last couple of practices really looked like he's starting to step up. Had the one nice touchdown catch where he beat Antoine Winfield, which is awesome because, dude, you know what? I've been a Jets fan for a little while, and that name Antoine Winfield still rubs me wrong when I hear it, because I think about his dad being in the building ready to sign with us and then walking out and getting on a plane and then going to Minnesota. So I haven't forgotten about that.
That was him. So him and Anthony Barr did that?
Yep. And ironically, both went to the Vikings.
Yeah, they both went to the Vikings. All right. Yeah. I'm Antoine Winfield Jr. is one of my favorite players, to be honest with you.
He is.
Yeah,
really
he's phenomenal. So I posted, this is, I think back in February, part of my trade wish list, and I had Tavondre Sweat on there because I thought that he doesn't fit what Robert Saleh wants to do, and I was tired of Jermaine Johnson. He was a part of that group and core that I just wanted out of the building. So it was funny enough. So it was the first time during the combine when I actually met Jake in person, and I was like, Jake, I called this one. Hopefully, I can get another one. So I would love to have Antoine Winfield Jr. on our team, but Jeremy Ruckert mossed him in practice, so that's good too. But yeah, like you said, not to get too far off topic, but Mason Taylor's been looking good. And some people, a lot of people give Mason Taylor a lot of hate because he didn't have a strong rookie season. But again, you look at the quarterback situation, what he was able to do. I think people want more. And it's when you compare Mason Taylor to the Brock Bowers, the Colston Lovelands, the Tyler Warrens, you're going to be disappointed. But again,
right.
when you compare him to, his contemporaries and people that were drafted around that time, the Michael Mayers, the Cole Kmets, I think you won't be disappointed. But I think that you're going to see a better version of Mason Taylor this year. But if you're expecting him to be some explosive tight end in between the 20s, I think you're going to be disappointed. But if you look at him as a sub-level Jason Witten, somebody that's just going to move the chains and be a safety valve for you, I think that you could really get behind Mason Taylor. And his blocking too. That can't be understated. Blocking is important, and Mason Taylor and Kenyon Sadiq can both block. And I watched them pancake Ruben Bain at practice. Mm-hmm. So,
well, you know what? It's funny that you brought that up because earlier Frankie V had a tweet where he compared him to Jason Witten, and Jason Witten was a good blocker, but he could catch too, and I like the well-rounded tight end like that. That's not only a blocker or only a receiving threat. And you know what? I'd take Jason Witten any day of the week. Honestly, that's a good all-around football player. And believe it or not, it was like Parcells, I think, that scouted him out coming out of college.
Jason Witten, right?
Yeah, gave the advice to draft him. Which, dude, there's just certain guys, and he's not going to be, Antonio Gates or something, but dude, I would take a Jason Witten type tight end all day, just a good utility guy that can do everything. And I think that Taylor's going to be good for us. He was having a really good rookie season before he got hurt. And there's yet another guy that was out at the end of the year, as I was talking about that earlier. But as far as Tampa Bay, Ruben Bain, I live in Tampa. Okay. So
Okay.
I've been having to listen to all the mess. You know, I got buddies of mine that are constantly, you know, texting me and talking smack. And you know what? Let me see if I got it. Okay. Yeah. I got a friend of mine,
Okay.
Bill. We've been friends since we were kids. He's actually sang the national anthem before a Bucks game, like I think 5 times now. He's done it for like some monster truck things and stuff here too.
Okay.
Right before their last Super Bowl, his band made this song called "We're Gonna Buck You Up," and all week I've had people sending me clips of this.
Say it loud and proud. We're gonna block you up. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We're gonna block you up.
If one more person sends me that shit, my head is gonna explode.
Explode.
But you know what? Somebody's gonna get bucked up tomorrow, but it
Yeah.
ain't gonna be the Jets. I think we're gonna go out and have a good showing. Don't you know? Hey, when people from Tampa come to New York, crazy shit happens. I am living proof of that. Because yeah, when I moved from here to New York, it was crazy. It was a crazy time in my life. I'm a very spontaneous person. I used to move all over the country when I was younger. I could get tired of a job and walk out, and I'd come home and be like, "Honey, I quit my job," and she'd be like, "Oh no, what are you going to do?" I was like, "I got a new job though. I start next week, but you got to pack because we're going to Atlanta or we're
Oh
going to New
wow.
Orleans or you know." And she'd be like, "Oh, you know," and my kid, when she was real little, used to love moving around different places. As she got older, started to be a teenager, she had her set friends and didn't want to move, and we kind of put down roots. But I used to move all the time. And credit to my wife, who's probably watching right now, and love you. And this episode is dedicated to you. Thank you for putting up with me all those years. Uh, but yeah, when I moved to New York, one day I got a call from a friend that I went to high school with, and she was like, "Hey, man, you know, are you still thinking about coming to New York?" And I was like, "Yeah." Okay, well, you know, I could use a roommate. And I'm like, okay. And so I was talking like, you know, where do you live? Like what area do you live in? And oh, I live in Brooklyn and I live in this area called Gravesend. And I'm like a big heavy metal fan. I was like, really? That's the most metal name I've ever fucking heard for a neighborhood. Yeah, I'm in. And like I just I just picked up and went. And
Wow.
ironically, I had just become a Jets fan at that time. And that was 19, like summer of 98. And so like that year, my very first year as a Jets fan, we went to the AFC championship game.
Wow.
And, you know, from that time on, you know, like shortly after, you know, is when Woody bought the team. But Woody's first 10 years, we were in the playoffs 6 times. And I thought that's what being a Jets fan was. We're good. We kick ass, we run the ball, we play good defense, we're in the playoffs more than we're out, and that's Jets football. And I was kind of naive to the history before I became a fan, and I figured that out as I went along. But this drought has been brutal because, like, I'm still used to those days. Like, that's how my mind is still wired. And I'm always real optimistic. And when Rodgers got here, I was hopeful, but like now, I feel like confident because like this rebuild is a complete rebuild. Like there is no facet of this team that they haven't changed from coaching to you know everything. Like every position group has been made over, and I like it. I like the mentality of the guys and listening to them. And a lot of times, you know, at this time of the year, I pay as much, if not more, attention to what the players are saying in their interviews than I do what I'm seeing them running around in shorts. Because I feel like listening to them talk and how things are going to them, what they're seeing when they're on the field, is like more important that time of year than what they're doing, you know, without pads and shorts and stuff. And every player you listen to, We believe in Coach Glenn. We believe in what he's trying to do. Like, and they're all so bought in. And looking at all the changes, like, how can I not buy in? Like, there's so many little positives that I think it adds up to be a big positive in the end. And I don't necessarily think we're going to go out and win 12 games, but I think we're going to be a competitive team week after week.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more jaded and pessimistic, and I'll just give you my background. I shared this on Jets Worldwide with Snowball and Johnny Boy last week. So I played baseball and basketball. Yeah, I lived in Queens. I played baseball and basketball. They weren't too, and I went to a private school, so there was no football available to me. And my father's from Jamaica, so we didn't really, our sport was baseball and basketball. So it wasn't until I watched the movie Any Given Sunday that I really wanted to play football. Jamie Foxx was in it. LL Cool J's in it. I'm sure some people in the chat know that movie. But that's after watching that, that's when I wanted to play football. And I didn't have the opportunity to play football until my 8th grade senior year. So that's when I started playing football. But around that time, the first team that I can truly remember was like that 99 to 2000 team. So I remember Curtis Martin. He was my favorite player. I just loved him. I just thought that he played hard, and he was just a model of consistency. Like week in and week out, you knew what you were going to get from Curtis Martin. I loved Chad Pennington, and I was a huge John Abraham fan, like 94 John Abraham before he changed his number to 56. So I remember all the teams. Herm was like my coach that I really like rode for. That was like the coach that I like. That's like the first coach. And I know it was Parcells and there was a lot of transition in between. But the first coach that I really remember like riding for and being like, this is my coach was Herm Edwards. And then, those teams made the playoffs. I remember the Doug Bryan missed field goals. I remember, I remember Terry Bradway picking, Mike Nugent just for the overcorrection, and over the years, I think the reason that I, started getting into like the draft process and trying to understand why, it just really used to break my brain why some teams were able to always draft well, and for some reason the team that I chose just couldn't draft properly. So it just started to break my brain. And, as I started playing college football, I always used to joke and, tell my mom that even though I'm playing, I never really wanted to like be in the NFL. I kind of understood my limitations, but I always wanted to be Stuart Scott and talk about the game and be around the game. So that's why I ended up going to school for broadcast journalism. So, I say all that to say, like, this is rebuild number 4 for me, I would say. So I'm not as optimistic as a lot of people. Like, yes, I do think Omar Membo's good. And I do think that David Bailey is good. But I also think that if you get paid millions of dollars to evaluate talent, you should be able to pick in the first round. You should be able to pick in the first 3 rounds. Good teams and championship teams are built on what you do on day 3. And year 1 of Darren Muji, he didn't have a good draft. Malachi Moore is fighting to be safety 3 on this team. Tyler Barron isn't going to make the team. And Arian Smith is a gunner. That's what everybody says. So, again, Muji's done a lot of things. He's done a lot of great things. I think every extension that he signed has been phenomenal. He got Garrett Wilson signed up early, and now Garrett has one of the best contracts at his position. Sauce Gardner, he signed him to a deal, which he deserved, but he also made that deal tradable, not even 8 months later, 6 months later. He was quick and timely and proactive to sign Breece Hall. Now that's, when Breece Hall signed that deal, he was I think it was a top 4 contract, correct? Now he's the 8th. Anymore. Nope. Now he's the 8th running back. And now Joe Tippmann. Did you see what Ben Bergeron got? So
no. Well, oh yeah, wait. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Ben Bergeron from the Falcons. And then also, did you see what Pete Skoronski got? I think that Joe Tippmann is just as good as those guys, and his contract is less. So it pays to be proactive at the GM position. But I tell people all the time, like, the Jets haven't had a quarterback. We all know this. I think the Jets have missed on the head coach, but you want to know what's been even more important? The Jets have missed at the GM position since the Rex era. Like people, I know Tannenbaum did some good things. He did not have good drafts, especially after Eric Mangini left. Some of his drafts are terrible. And then you go to John Idzik. We don't even have to go on John Idzik. John Idzik was one of the worst GMs, I think, in New York sports. Then you go to Mike McCagnon, who he drafted Sam, but there was a lot of things that, left to be desired. Joe Douglas tried. He completely missed that 2 premium positions. So now you hope that you got somebody in there, but, missing significantly on the GM is how you end up not making the playoffs for a decade and a half in a league that's built on parity.
Yeah. And I completely agree with that. I think we do have a good GM now. Dude, ironically, Curtis Martin was my favorite player too. Like Curtis Martin is literally the reason that I became a Jets fan. Uh, Prior to that, I was an NFL fan, but like I just watched all the games, and there were guys, from all different teams that I liked, whether it be, Dan Fouts or Tony Dorsett or, whoever. And but then I'm listening to this guy talk and I was like, wow, this dude is just like so humble and but he's a badass. But like the way he spoke was just different. And it seemed like every time he talked, I like picked up some little piece of knowledge from what he was saying. And but at the time he was a patriot. And I was like, man, I didn't like that team, that logo on the helmet. It looks like the post office or something, just like, but then he got traded to New York and Parcells was here. I like Parcells. And I was like, and they had Vinny, and Vinny was from Tampa, where I'm from. And I was kind of like, okay, well, we got Vinny's redemption story. Now Curtis is there with Parcells for a cut. You know what? I'm going to be a Jets fan. And I literally became a fan because of Curtis Martin. And, ended up meeting him at the Hall of Fame.
Nice.
And got this signed.
Oh,
and
nice.
it says, Rickie, if you're going through hell, don't stop. And one time I'll tell you the story of how I met him at the Hall of Fame. It was an autograph session, but there was a lot more to it than that. And
Nice.
I actually got to speak to him for several minutes, and it was a really cool conversation. And then after meeting him, I walked around and for a while inside the building. And as I was going to leave, I heard someone yell, "Hey, Rickie." And I turned around and he's across the room standing up at the autograph table. And he points at me and he goes, "No matter what happens in life, never quit, never give up." And I was like, okay, I like something stupid, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but I couldn't believe that, several minutes later he remembered my name. And
Yeah.
so it was a really super cool experience. And not to sound corny or anything, but
No,
it was
not
kind of a
funny at all.
life-changing experience.
It's
And
good. It's good when the people that you put up on a pedestal, or the people that you look up to, deliver, and they are better in person. Yeah, it's nothing better than that.
yeah, and like when I got to the Hall of Fame, I walked in, I started walking up the stairway to go up to where the busts were, and I passed Terry Bradway on the stairway. You just brought him up a minute ago. But I got up there, I'm looking at the busts, and I turn around, and right about eye level to me, I'm looking at this tattoo. I'm looking at this armband. I'm going, man, I know that friggin' tattoo. I know that tattoo anywhere. The best center to ever play the game of football ever, Kevin Mawai, and his wife was nice enough to take that picture of us. But dude, that was just like an amazing weekend. Like after I met Curtis Martin, I was coming out and I was talking to someone about it. And this guy just like randomly walking by is like, so you're a big Curtis Martin fan, huh? And I'm like, yeah, and I start talking. He was like, I was his agent the whole time that he was playing. And so I ended up going and sitting down and having lunch with his agent and his son. And so
Nice.
like, dude, it was just a really, really cool experience. Anybody that hasn't been to the Hall of Fame, I would highly recommend going. Obviously, when one of our guys is getting in, but dude, yeah, it was an amazing time, and I'm ready to get back to that kind of football, like real Jets football, I like to call it. And I think we're set up in the position where we can get there. Obviously, we still need the long-term quarterback. There's still
Yeah.
things we need, but I like where we're at. I like the direction we're heading. And at the end of the day, we got to win games, to see that whole thing come to fruition. I've had this comment up for a few minutes. Valerie, good. Let them keep sucking. Let them keep sucking all the way through the year, all the way to a top 2 pick, 3 pick for us. That is perfectly okay with me. The Colts can go ahead and just be the worst team in the entire league this year for all I care. does not hurt my feelings. Also, I'll tell you what. Let me ask you, not to skip ahead of tomorrow's matchup, week 2 against the Packers. Dude, I obviously they're not going to have Micah Parsons at the beginning of the year, which they did not fare well without him last year. But they also lost Rashawn Gary. They lost Quay Walker. They don't have Romeo Dobbs, who was probably one of their biggest chain movers. Marcus Golden, super fast, but missed a lot of time last year. And, I wouldn't call him proven by any stretch. Dude, I could see them stumbling early in the year and possibly digging themselves into a hole that's hard to get out of.
Well, they start their season. Their first 2 games are on the road, and like you said, I believe they went 1-6 after the Micah Parsons injury. Somebody you can fact check me, or somebody in the chat can check me. And Jordan Love, he's going to give you a few clunkers. I do think that he's a really good quarterback, but he is due for some clunkers. Now, offensively, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. They have Christian Watson. They have Tucker Kraft. Josh Jacobs is not going to miss time. Matthew Golden is really good. They always do a really good job of having enough stockpile receivers. Savion Williams is pretty good, and they always have a solid offensive line, but they've lost some pieces as well too. Elgin Jenkins left there, so they do have some holes. I think if the Packers are going to take a step back this year, will definitely be that. But again, Matt LaFleur is such a good coach. He's phenomenal in his play scripts and his schematics and putting guys in the right places. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Glenn for the Jets defense versus the offense. But I do think you can be opportunistic and against that defense, just like you said. Who's going to be rushing the passer? I give the first 2 weeks of the season, I give the Jets the advantage in the trenches. Yeah, me personally, I think their edge number 1 is going to be Lucas Van Ness, and for all the shit that people give Will McDonald for not being JSN, he was the second edge that was taken, or Lucas Van Ness was taken ahead of him, and I think Will McDonald has more sacks in his double-digit year than Lucas Van Ness has for his career. So I'm not really, I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the guy that's going to, provide the pressure against the Jets offense, especially in that front 7. I know that they got Zaire Franklin, who's a solid player, but again, he's a little bit older. They got Devontae Wyatt, but he's an interior guy. He's a 2-gapper. So again, I'm still, and especially if you win week 1, then you have all the momentum, and then Green Bay has to come to your house and with the home opener. So you mean to tell me if you start off 1-0 coming off of beating your former coach after he's been in the media saying what he's saying, and then you have an opportunity to go 2-0 for the first time, and God knows how. When was the last time the Jets were 2-0 to start a season?
A while ago.
It's been a while, right? It has, I don't even think in those Rex years. It's probably pre-Mangini. You probably have to go back. Somebody look that up. It's been years.
It might have been. I know that we started 2-0 the year of the Keyshawn Corbett, the flashlight game here in Tampa, where Curtis Martin threw the touchdown to Corbett. Okay. Because I was at that game, and both teams were undefeated in that game. Both teams were 4-0 going into that game. They were the only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. You know how good that sounds? The Jets, one of the only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL, 4 games in. That just has such a nice ring to it.
It does. And Dave Brigger, Van Ness is good against the run. Absolutely, he's good against the run. But again, the Jets are going to be passing. Who's providing that pass rush for them? Is it going to be Devontae Wyatt? Is it going to be, maybe Lucas Van Ness has restructured and reconfigured his game to where he's going to provide some of that. But again, I like the tackles in that matchup versus Green Bay's edge group. Just like I like the Jets defense in that week 1 matchup. I like David Bailey versus JC Latham. I like Will McDonald versus Dan Moore.
Yeah. And earlier I had a comment up there it is. Dobbs in New England is criminal. Dude, I wanted Romeo Dobbs so bad this past offseason. That was like my biggest, free agent that I had my eyes on. But seeing the way that A.D. Mitchell has come on, I'm like, you know what? That's all I want. I want AD Mitchell to be better than Romeo Dobbs this year, and I will not be upset in the least bit. And I actually think he's gonna be. So, dude, yeah, if Gino has time to throw, like I think we can do damage against that Green Bay defense because I don't see them generating a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
But as
yeah, I'd
far
have
as
to agree.
get going back to tomorrow night's game,
Yeah.
uh, Bulls and Glenn obviously know each other well. Um, what's the key things that you're looking for in this matchup? Like, like for me, it's going to be, can we get to the quarterback, and how does our secondary look? Are the two main things that I'm going to be watching tomorrow night.
Well, you got to remember, Glenn said that he's only expecting his starters to get 25 to 30 snaps throughout the preseason. So at most, these guys are probably going to play 10, maybe 12 snaps, maybe 2 series, depending on how it goes. So I'm not going to take too much out of this, especially from the first team. So what I would want to see is some pre-snap motion. I want the protection to hold up with the first unit. I want to see them get rid of the ball quickly. So that means working on that short to intermediate to where Gino doesn't have to go through too many progressions and he's not holding the ball. Because I think when he's holding the ball for too long, that's when he's going to make those mistakes. So that's what I want to see from the offense. And I also want to see some movement in the run game in terms of run blocking from the offensive line. I want to see them moving people and getting to the second level. So that's what I'm looking for from the offensive line. From a defensive standpoint, get to the quarterback. That's it. I want to see quick pressure. I want to see you moving Baker Mayfield. I want to see him get to if he's doing a 3-step drop, get to your 3-step drop, and you have to step up into the pocket because the edges are screaming after stressing the tackles vertically. And then when you step up into the pocket, hopefully those guys that are in the middle, they're collapsing the pocket. I would like to see, I would just like to see active hands in the passing lanes. So, and that's it. And then obviously the most important thing, no injuries and solid tackling. That's it. That's all I'm looking for.
Right.
I don't need any. Yeah, I don't need any and no pre-snap penalties. That's important.
Oh yeah, well yeah, penalties that's a given for sure, absolutely, and yeah, I can agree with every one of those. That I do want to see our offensive line do well, um, and kind of like you with the defense. The first thing that I'm looking for is I want to see us get to the quarterback, like
Yes.
uh, stopping the run, stop the run the ball. That's going to be our philosophy going into the year. But like for right now, like I want to see those pass rushers getting home, and that's gonna be so important. And I think that had a lot to do last year with why our secondary was so bad because we just weren't generating any pressure. And guys, no matter how good you are, you can only cover for so long. So um, that's why I said, get the quarterback, and I want to see our guys be able to hold up in coverage. I want to see how AZ looks. I don't know if Emeka Ibuka got banged up a little bit in one of the practices, but they've got good receivers there. I want to see AZ matched up against a live opponent and see what he looks like. So I'm looking forward to that. Dude, if you want to hang out, I'm gonna maybe take a caller or two.
I'll stay for a caller.
Right on. And I do want to real quick say thank you again to all the people from X that have come over and subscribed to the channel. Sometimes when I'm looking at X and I see Brooklyn or Long Island in somebody's screen name, I just assume New York. And last night I got a message from someone and they were like, hey, does your profile says you live in Brandon, Florida? And I'm like, yeah. Are you still there? And I'm like, yeah. And the guy was like, dude, I live like at this intersection. And I was like, that's like a quarter of a mile from my childhood home. Like that's literally the neighborhood that I grew up in and lived in for almost 30 years on and off. And he was like, no kidding, dude. Like, are you still in town? And I was like, yeah, I'm on the other side of town now, but I still live right here. And So we ended up talking, and we'll probably end up hanging out and going to a game and hanging out this year. But I saw Long Island in his name, and I just assumed Long Island,
Yeah,
and which he's from there. And that's the one good thing is there's a lot of people from New York and Florida.
for sure.
So yeah, when we get together for games, there's a good crew of us. And Jake, like last year, I pestered Jake so bad to do one of his meetups down here in Tampa, and he said as long as it's early in the year, it was. He came down, did a meetup down here, and my wife went with me, and she was like, "It's not going to be real crowded, is it?" And I was like, "Probably not." It's New York. It's not in New York. And dude, we pulled up and there had to be 350 people. Like the place was so packed, like you had to like force your way through the crowd. You couldn't even move.
Wow.
It was slam packed. There were so many people that I talked to in the chat here. Um, the big fella, Rick Kent, Dave Briga, Pagan Artie, who were awesome. Leany, Jay Graves, Terrence Hill, like, dude, there's so many people, and I got to meet him and hang out with him in person. Jets Johnny at the game, like me and Rick Kent and Dylan Terraman sat together at the game. Yeah, it was awesome, man,
Nice.
and getting to meet everybody. That's another thing I'll say. Like I said about the Hall of Fame earlier, uh, if you get a chance to go to one of those meetups, regardless which content creators do it, go. Like it's so worth it to get to meet all the people that you talk to in the chat and that we talk to every week. And likewise, real quick, uh, if you want to hang out and talk to people in the community that's not Jets Talk, where people are just hanging out and chilling and talking with some good vibes, check out Addison's channel, The Tazzy Show. I am putting the link in the chat right now. But yeah, if you want some place to hang out and talk to other Jets fans where it's not necessarily all Jets talk, it can be any topic, I highly suggest that you check his channel out.
Yeah,
That,
Nate and some of the other guys. I was hanging out with them 2 weeks ago after the first practice. So yeah, I subscribe to Tazzy.
yeah, and he actually told me to say thank you to you for you
Oh,
subscribing.
of
So
course.
I want to make sure to do that. But yes, there are some good Jets bars here in Tampa. Uh, our local one here in Tampa, Earl Christie, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl III champion Earl Christie is a member of our fan club, which he'll be on Nick Shine's show a week from Sunday.
Nice.
And Mike Westoff is a member of our fan club, and I met him there. He did a book signing there a couple years ago. And so yeah, we've got a really good crowd and a good community down here. I'll tell you what, this YouTube community is second to none, though. You guys are awesome. And saying that, let me bring on a caller.
Caller.
How you doing, Darren?
How you doing, Darren?
Hey guys, you guys are both new to this thing. I met you both through Jake, and you guys are awesome. I've subscribed to
you.
both your channels, and
Thank
I
you.
am so happy we're getting
Thank you.
even more people out here. I mean, Rickie, you do this like what, once a week? You do it all the time? I don't even know. But this is the first time I caught you live, so I figured I'd call in and say hello.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Okay.
oh,
Okay.
I'm back.
Yeah. I used to do it because I had an alternating schedule. It used to be I would be on Tuesday and Saturday one week, and then Thursday the next week, and it was weird. It was my alternating schedule made it hard for people to know when exactly to catch me. After a while, people kind of started figuring my schedule out, but now it's every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So it's actually 3 times a week.
3 times a
You're doing
week.
3 times a week.
Dude, can you do me a favor? Not right here where we're at. Go over to your YouTube, the window that has YouTube open, and mute the sound over there because it's echoing back. We can like hear ourselves talking. Okay. There you go.
Oh no,
Nope.
we're still
Oh, I
getting
don't
a
know.
mute. You might have
And,
to mute while we're talking to you.
Yeah, I'll when we're talking, I'll mute you, but I'll let you go ahead and continue.
Guys, I'll call back in on my phone because this tablet's terrible. I'll call back on my phone.
Gotcha.
All right, right on, man.
So I'll get out. All right, bye.
All right. Anyways, like, yeah, I went to mute his mic and I accidentally knocked him out the first time. I was like, oh shit.
Oh,
But
okay. All right.
yeah, man. My schedule used to really make things hard on me, like doing the show. Like people would be like, wait a minute, he was here, Tuesday last week, and now it's Thursday this week. And I like being able to have a set schedule. Like all the shows were always at 8 p.m. Like in very rare instances, I've had a guest that because of their schedule couldn't come at that time. And once I made it earlier, I think for Matt O'Leary, I made it a little bit later because he had a show right before mine.
Yep.
And dude, like the day that Jake did my show, I want to say he did like a 2.5 hour show that morning, then did like 3 hours of talk radio, and then came and did almost another 3 hour show of his own, and then came on my show. And I was just like, holy cow, dude, you're just a machine.
I tell people all the time, Jake works his ass off, and he's, I always say thank you to Jake too, because I met him at the combine and he had me on, and then parlayed that into a weekly spot, and now I'm excited to do my own show here tomorrow. So first post game tomorrow night.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to that. And
thank you,
everybody. If you have not already, make sure that you subscribe to Omari's channel. You can find the link to it in the description. I will post it in the chat right now too.
Thank you.
But yeah, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Like I said at the opening of the show, I really liked all your takes. They were very well thought out. And Nate, absolutely right. Elite guest.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you.
Yeah, really, really dig what you're doing, man. I think it's awesome that you got your own channel now. And Jake, I was right behind Jake. Jake was number 11 to subscribe. I was number 13. I was like literally right behind him.
I appreciate that. Yeah, just like I said, man, I got to tell people all the time, like, I think we should all be helping each other out. Like what you're doing doesn't stop what I'm doing. What I'm doing doesn't stop what you're doing. I think that we're all unique, and it's pretty cool that we all, like you could have 50 different Jets content creators and we all have 50 different perspectives. And I think that all of those are unique and they should be heard. Thank you guys for the subs, the subscriptions. So yeah, we're going right after the preseason, man. We're going to talk a little bit. I want to hear from you guys. Hopefully you guys aren't shy and you call in, and I really want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm always interested in how people view the game, and I'm always looking for ways to learn more about the game too, because there's so many intricacies of a kid's game. So yeah, I'm extremely excited. And Rickie, thanks for wanting to have me on and actually caring about what I have to say about the team. So I'm always humbled and grateful.
Absolutely, man. And we all do have to support one another. Like I think I'm subscribed to so many different Jets content creators, and I can almost fill out my entire day just watching Jets shows.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I can't keep up with everybody all the time because there's just too many. Like there's so many of us now. And
there's a lot.
Myself, Dano, there's a few of us that come from what I would call the Jake Asman coaching tree. Jets worldwide. There's a bunch of us that we started off as callers, but my favorite part of doing these shows is taking people's calls. And it's a Jets show, but it's really more about Jets fans than it is the team. It's about being able to connect with all of everybody else and allowing them to connect with one another. And I've made a lot of really good friendships, away from the computer through this community. And I've seen people step up and really be there for one another. Jets fans are the best, man. It's just undeniable. We've got the best fan base in the world. And dude, how could we not? after everything we've been through, for so many of us to still be so locked in and so diehard. Um, yeah, all you guys that have supported me, all you guys that are, rocking the merch, love it, appreciate it, man. Um, yeah, and again, all the people that have come over from X, that's awesome. It was kind of tough at first. Like it seemed like people were either YouTube people or X people, and a lot of people from X did not come over, initially. But like Pete that does the Jets commute,
Yeah, it's my guy.
yeah, he subbed to the channel.
Yeah,
Me and him were messaging earlier, and I subbed to the Jets commute too.
good,
But
good.
like
Yeah,
like
we'll be
now,
doing some
all of a
stuff with
sudden,
Pete
I'm
too.
starting to see more and more people from X popping up over here, and it's awesome. It's awesome to have that crossover and to see the community expand. And man, I can't wait for the season to get rocking. And I've said this multiple times. I and not that I expect playoffs this year, but I think we're going to be good, and I think we're going to be celebrating wins. I hate hearing people say like, "Oh, my favorite show is when so and so content creator was losing their mind," because no, I don't want to hear that. Like that, a meltdown should not be your favorite moment. Your favorite moment should be when we just knocked Buffalo on their ass. It should be us winning a game, not us losing a game.
Absolutely.
So, and in the era of Jets YouTube, there has not been a playoff game. Like nobody was doing Jets content like this in 2009, 2010 with Rex. It's just an undeniable fact. As a YouTube community, we have not ever gotten to experience postseason football. And I cannot wait for the day that that happens to be able to celebrate with everybody because it's going to be fucking epic.
It's gonna be a good time. Shout out to my guy Macho Man in here. He's from X, so he's always in the commute. He's always in spaces. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think I became familiar with him on Jets Worldwide, and yeah, man, Macho, it's good to see you here, bro. It's awesome seeing so many of the X people over here now. That's really awesome. Addie,
It's good.
what up? Addie, by the way, I did convey your thanks to Omari for the sub to the Tazzy show, and
Yes.
I posted your link earlier. So, yeah, another cool place to hang out and talk to fellow Jets fans. But yeah, that's been the best part of this thing for me is just all the people that I've met and communicating with people. And dude, I the last thing I want is for people just to call up and go, "Yep, I agree with everything you're saying." Like, no, like I have your own opinion, disagree. Like,
Yeah.
because there have been times where people called me and said, like, you know what, I'm not so sure about this player. And then I'll go back and I'll look at tape and I'll try to see what they're seeing. And you know what? Sometimes people have a different perspective and it makes me look at things a different way. And I love hearing different opinions. And
That's how you learn.
there's been a lot of people that I've been very, very pro Aaron Glenn this whole time. And granted, last year was bad. But dude, I don't know. I've
Yeah.
just always had this faith that he was the right guy for the job and that we are headed in the right direction. And so I'm so confident with the moves that we've made this off season. Like I said, the guys are all so hungry and they're all so bought in. Like I think this entire team, top to bottom, including the coaches, have something to prove. And I like knowing that we're going into the year with that mindset. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like I said, listen, tomorrow we start the long journey from now until basically 2027. So I'm looking forward to it. And I got to run now. So it's time to spend
yeah,
some
I was
quality
about to
time.
say I'm
Yeah.
getting ready to wind this thing down anyway. It was great to have you on though, man.
Thank
Like
you.
I
Thank
said,
you.
I was looking really forward to this. Everybody, one more time, if you haven't already, go over, subscribe to Omari's channel. Really great stuff, man. Look forward to talking again in the future. Everybody else out there, I will be back Saturday night and Tuesday, both at 8 p.m. Tuesday, I may have a special surprise guest for you guys. It's not a player or anything like that, but oh, wait, hold on. I've got one last caller. Nate, what's up?
Oh,
I got in just in time.
You
What's
did,
up, Nate?
right under the wire.
I was heading out, and I was like, "Oh, Omari's got to go." I was like, "Oh shit, I guess not." I heard no thing of the show, so I got nothing to comment on because I just got here 2 minutes ago when I commented in chat. But Omari's the man. I'm looking forward to your first show tomorrow on the YouTube post game. I'll be tuned in.
thank you, appreciate it, Nate. Yeah, Nate. See, and this was cool too. I got to hang out with Nate, Charles Gorman, Luppy. So no, it was a good time. So just like you said, I'm really excited to get my own show out here, but most importantly, share some stories, meet some fans, hear from you guys, because I think the Jets aren't giving us much to be excited about on the field, so we might as well all just have fun when we meet each other.
Absolutely, man, 100%. Nate, unfortunately, I got to kind of go too, but
no, I know you got to go. I was just saying, I want to say what's good because I said I was going to call him one time when Omari was on. Able to sneak
right
in.
Right on. Well, I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad you caught us before I was gone, man. It's always good to hear from you. Nate's been rocking the Rickie New York shit from the very beginning when I first started this thing. He's been with me for the whole ride, so to speak. So
yeah.
Definitely, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Can't get enough Jets content creators. Quite
right.
literally, it's 24 hours in a day. We gotta fill it up somehow.
Yeah,
I know. We just need one right at noon, right at lunchtime now to fill in that gap. That's one of the only spots where we're really missing. There's that kind of lunchtime lull. But right on, brother.
All right, Ricky, I'll let you guys go. Omari, pleasure. I'll see you
later, man.
Tomorrow. Peace out, Ricky. Peace out, Omari. Take care, guys.
Right on. And yeah, dude, such a great community, man. So many good channels, just so many good things going on. And I can't wait to have some good football to talk about. Looking for a good showing tomorrow, looking for a strong start to the year, and looking to celebrate a bunch of wins with everybody out there. So yeah, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Omari, thank you so much for joining me, man. We will talk again sometime. I'm sure I'll probably see you in Spaces tomorrow morning. For
sure.
Something.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be in the commute most likely.
Right on, man. Have a great night, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks again.
All right. And everybody else out there, thank you as always for supporting me. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you sub to the channel. Tell a friend, man. Let's keep growing this thing. Let's keep getting this thing bigger and better. That being said, everybody have a tremendous rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Let's get fucking fired up. Jets football tomorrow night. And let's buck them Bucks up. So everybody have a great weekend. Peace out. I will see you guys on Saturday.
Thank you. Good night. We love you all.